workshop, it's more about the practical use of AI for your organizations. And because we didn't really know what type of organizations people come from, how far you are on your AI journey, we just thought we'd cast a wide net to make it applicable for all audiences. So we have 3 use cases, but Brother Mozam will speak to you about AI readiness, where your organization is on the road to use and utilizing AI. And then we'll talk about some free tools for you just to play around with and wet your beaks in the world of AI.
So, Assalamu alaikum. So you'll all have seen the what we call the AI maturity matrix of the printed page when you came in earlier. So what we've tried to do is capture a map or a journey that you need to go about as an organization to start to adopt technology, AI technology. And it's important to understand that it is a journey that you'll be going through. So you're starting off with that vision and mission, that drive that you want to see that the change in the world, and then really breaking it down into the key steps, the key people, and the key processes that need to come together to achieve that vision and mission. So the document that you've got, we've split it into sort of horizons where we've tried to capture, depending on the complexity of your organizations, from leadership and strategy, from operations all the way to legal and regulatory compliance, and just understanding as you would do on a map of where you are today. Are you foundational? Are you developing? Or are you fully intelligent and automated? It's important before you go down a journey of introducing any kind of technology or any kind of process is do step back and understand how an organization works. As a leader, as somebody with a vision, you'll know what you want in your mind, but then translating that into key steps and key activities, you need to bring people together and then design processes that help those people and your customers, so your service users, if you are running, say, a food bank, or you're running a madrasa, or you're running sort of outreach programs within the community. It's really allowing them to understand what their day-to-day jobs are, those processes they need to do. That encapsulates what we call the operating model. So that's the day-to-day activity, codified hopefully on some level of some level of documents that you have, and those are shared, and that's something that you train your people with. With technology, it's important to understand that technology is just a wrapper or what we call an enabler of your operating model. So it's critical to understand what your engine does, your organization does, and then how technology can help accelerate that for you, right? So we call that the digital operating model. So this could be the software, the tools, the processes that you use that sit within those standard operating procedures, so those day-to-day activities that your teams take part in. And then you can then analyze those processes to say, where can I introduce some of these digital tools? So we talk about some common ones today in terms of text generation, in terms of video, and in terms of image. But this is very important to understand at a granular, if you can imagine like a Lego block set, and breaking it down into those Lego blocks. Together it creates your process, but individually these are the things that you can swap out to try and use different technology methods with. So on the reverse of the printed document, you'll see the action roadmap, and this allows you to map where you are from a maturity perspective to your next steps that you can start on almost immediately within your team. So be it a one-on-one course on AI for your leadership teams, as they can understand what the art of the possible is. And it could be then disseminating that within your communities. It's very important to sort of reiterate that technology is simply an accelerant. It's your vision, it's your ideas, it's your thoughts and your dreams, and you want them to be as aligned to Adeen as possible, and to spread that goodness that we have within our faith. Once you've established that, then you go about plotting that vision and how technology can help amplify that, be it through videos, be it through images, be it through finding financial support through grant application, which is a use case that Iblal will go down. So we've also created a ready reckoner. So it basically takes that printed document. It's a little application that you can use on the website. If you go to the QR code, you can follow that questionnaire, which is the same points within the maturity matrix. And at the end, you'll get a score of how mature you are in this. There is but you can then follow up with us, and there is a button where you can join this waiting list, where we will then help plot that course for you together, and we can amplify your visions as MCB. So if there are any questions, do you want to raise your hands? It's not the ideal place to have a classroom session, but hey. Any questions? Okay, I'll hand it back over to Iblal. Thank you. Oh, sorry, brother. Yeah.
Just, you mentioned about grants. So how has it which grants we are applicable for?
Definitely, yeah. So, Brother, I'll go into a particular use case, inshallah. But in terms of finding those grants, now again, you've got with AI technology, you've got the ability for the AI to help search for some of these grants. There are databases available, but Ibar go over the actual things that you need to do. Okay, right? Any more? Okay, I'll hand it to Ibar. Thank you.
Cool. So, without further ado, moving on to the practical applications of using AI. As you're aware, there are loads of different large language models, or what people might your Gemini that are available to you. You have your ChatGPTs, your Gemini, Cloud, and loads of other ones. So we decided that we would demonstrate Gemini, because if you work for a charity or a community interest group or things of that nature, Google Workspace is available for you to use for free, and Gemini is incorporated within Google Workspace for you. And moving to the actual use case. So I work for lots of good work. I volunteer for a charity in Iwickham called the Creative Lazy. We do lots of good work, mashallah. But I'm feeling particularly lazy nowadays, so I'd like to use a large language model to produce a grant application. Now, what application am I looking for? Well, the documents are there on the QR code. So if you want to take a look, you can see the documents that I'm going to use for this demonstration. It's a GSK fund looking at tackling health inequalities. So if we could switch over to my laptop, please. Thank you. So this is my charity that I work for. Not my charity, sorry. The charity that I volunteer for. Creamer Foundation. It literally just went onto the website, press Control P, saved their website page. It just has a quick overview of projects that we deliver. And then the last page is essentially nothing, right? That we deliver. And then the last page is essentially nothing, right? The documents that I referred you to are these ones. So you have the GSK health program, and these are guidelines of the application. As you're all well aware, when you apply for bids, potentially there's so many different documents, so many different questions you have to answer. It just drags on and on. So what I want to do is to be able to show you how you can use a large language model to help you on your path of applying for that grant. It won't do 100% of the work for you, but it'll go a long way. So here's my hand corner. Please disregard anything that's there previously. Models. On the top left hand corner, you can see the different models of Gemini that you can use. I'm on a free model, so we're just going to use the free model and see how well it does for us. So the 3 documents that I previously showed to you, I'm just going to literally drag them all across into Gemini. And then I've got a prompt which I prepared earlier. And I think this is the last session, so you've probably already been on your prompt workshop. So you're all well aware of what makes a good prompt, right? So, but what I particularly want to point out to you in this is that when I'm using, when I'm prompting the Z, make sure that the output I get is in UK English, because I hate the Z. For like standardization and whatever characterization, I just hate the Z that sticks in there. The hyphenated text that's generated from ChatGPT, etc., sometimes gives away that your whatever text that you got was generated by an AI model. So I don't really like that. So I usually put instructions in the prompt to remove those particular things. I also mentioned to the large language model that if you don't know something, then don't try and make anything up. Put square brackets in to say that you're, I'm going to have to revisit that section later. Cool. So I'm just going to take that, literally copy and paste into the chat functionality, and then while that's going on, I'm going to load up the actual fund on the side, right? So you saw the 3 documents that I pasted, and here we go. So application questions, these are the questions that are going to be asked. And by no means is this the final product. This has done maybe 40–50% of the work for me, but that's still good enough for me. I'm going to have to go back to validate the text that's been generated for accuracy. Large language model might say, I'm going to go out and do X, Y, Z as part of my project, but in reality, I know that I can't actually do that. Right. So A1, organization name, fine, it's got that from the context that I've given it. Registered address, wonderful. I didn't provide it a registered address, so it shouldn't have that information anyway. So I know it's doing well there. Again, all of this information I hadn't provided. If you, for example, have, I don't know, a template document for yourself that you can create that has all of this information in there, you can reuse that template for other grant bids that you put together in the future. And then this stuff will be pre-filled. But I will say that if you're using data, make sure that you use like Gemini that's hosted on your Google Workspace. Don't use ChatGPT because there needs to be like data protection, impact assessments, etc. done. And that's the whole can of worms you don't want to open. So yeah, moving down, just I don't want to labor over this, but for example, which option best describes the people that benefit from your organization's work? And based on the information I've given it, our services are open to all members of the public, but we predominantly work with the Pakistani Kashmiri population of High Wycombe because that's the majority of the demographics. So it's wonderful, it's picked that up and it's able to use that correctly. And then you can go on and see how the large language model has put your bid together. Yeah. So you can see it's done a lot of substantial work for me, and then my role can be to go validate it and amend what I need to. Right? Thank you. So just to reiterate, that's not necessarily the only thing that you could do with large language models. You can also use it to create summaries of like long legislation or guidelines. You can create standard operating procedures if you have any examples that you can give to it as well. And that's the prompt that I used. So just in case you have the slides later, you can copy my prompt. Yeah. So use case number 2 is, and they asked for, I'm again still working at Karima. Workshop, and they asked me, Blal, we want to run Muslims of high income. And I'm not the most creative person in the world. The media team are backed up and they tell me to go on Fiverr and pay for it, but I'm broke. So how do I generate it? Well, if you guys have downloaded Canva, this will be a good time to pull it out, because what we are going to do is go through a demonstration. So you can use Canva to generate. So if we can again switch over to my laptop, perfect, thank you. So just before we start, I thought I'd show you some of the other stuff that we generated. So substance misuse, we'll do adult mental health. These are pretty awful, but like FIC classes, I picked pop art, and this is just horrible, but it's good to show. So these ones were a lot better. Like you have to, again, some of these. It's all a hit and miss process. Like you have to repeatedly, like it's. So for our use case, on the left-hand side, you should be able to see Canva AI. If you click Canva AI for me, you'll be met with a prompt box. You can select a design for me, but I want you guys to take that away. Use design for me when you go home. But for now, what we're going to use is create an image. So click create an image. And then for now, we'll worry about style in a bit, but select 9:16. Okay. But they've asked me to make a large language model to create it for you. So, for example, just on the fly, Karima. So again, when you're using stuff like this, you kind of want to be careful. You could create a new chat, but that would lose the information it has about Karima. So forget about creating a grant bid and my previous instructions. Karima have asked me to create a poster for a mental health workshop for Muslims. I need a prompt offloading my own prompt engineering work. So everything you've learned in your prompt engineering workshop, you don't need to remember. I'm joking. So remember what they said as well. But you can also use these models to create prompts for you. And then you can fine tune your prompts as well. And the other thing I would say is do not generate an image for me. Produce a text prompt I can feed into Canva. So if I don't mention that last bit, it might actually create the image for me, which I don't really want. It's just given me a load of stuff here, which again, I'm going to copy some of that. Nope, wrong one. Oop, wrong one. So pasting it in here. Canva isn't really good at text generation. If you do create a design, that's better with text generation. But if we're creating an actual image itself, what we want to say is don't create. I'm going to get rid of everything here because I don't like what Gemini is given next. Do not include any text. Do not include. I like to do any text. I like to ask. The other thing I like to do is descriptive, anything descriptive or adjectives to kind of go along with the vibe of what we're trying to create. So what should this poster represent? What should it symbolize? So who? Sorry? Resilience. Great. The poster should represent resilience. Is that how you spell it? I don't know. But anything else?
Mindfulness.
Sorry?
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. So for now, we'll stick with that, but then somebody also shout out a style for me. So when you click styles, you've got a whole bunch of different ones available for you. And this is will underpin the type of image you also get. So let's minimalist. Okay. It might. So let's see. And again, like I keep saying, go back the iterative process. It might generate garbage for me, but that's fine because I'll go back. Oops. So minimalist, don't use minimalist. So let's go for. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, do not include faces. I think, yeah, it should be up here. Use Islamic motifs. So let's try cinematic this time. So again, like I said, all we needed to do if we want to. So again, like I said, copy button down here. Once you click that, it'll give you your old prompt back at the top, which you can then amend and change later. So it's interesting. I think this mindfulness is the big factor here on this one, creating this image. But again, this can be a starting point for you. So you can then click on the ones that you potentially like. So it could be like this, for example. I particularly like this one, and I'm just going to go open editor. And now you can use your organizer to edit. You can add text. You can add the logos of your organization, etc. So what logos of your organization, etc. To get somebody to create a poster. Now it's at your fingertips. Yeah. If we can just go back to my slides, please. So the other thing I wanted to mention is there's, again, loads of different tools available for you. Image FX is one. You could use that. Again, that's inbuilt into your Google workspace and stuff. But that's not. And whisk animation is really, really cool. That's really text generation as well, but that's not available in the UK at the moment. The third use case that we have, which is quite a hot topic at the moment, is the use of AI to generate videos. During my initial research into this, VO3 was probably the best at generating videos from text. The issue with VO3 is it's quite expensive. And there are so many different engines out there for you to use. My suggestion would be, if you are in this field and you do like to generate videos, or would like to generate videos, is to go up to OpenArt, and then you can select different video generation engines for you to use. Canva also is quite good at this. It produces videos which are about 8 seconds long, but again, it's based on the free trial, etc. There are free alternatives. So there's Canva, short clips for those 30 days. that you have a free trial, or if you have a charity or a charitable organization, then you will be able to get that for free. Veer.com is a free video generation tool, but rather than being text to video, it's image to video. So you'll come with an image, give it an image, and say, I want it to do this, and then it'll create a video for you. Again, a short video, and this open and free a video for you. Again, a short video may not always be great, so you have to spend a bit of time guiding it. Yeah. So Brother Mozam now will speak to you about the video generation bits. I think that's the question.
Yeah. So it's worth pointing out AI is obviously a moving technology. So within what we'll show today will be superseded in literally probably next week. But it's fair to say that the limitations that we have right now won't necessarily be there within 3 months, within 6 months. So with VO3 as an example that we'll show, it does 8-second clips. Within a couple of months' time, you'll be able to do 30-second, minute-long clips. And video is a very powerful medium. Obviously, the TikTok probably suffered from the YouTube Shorts rabbit hole, or the TikTok rabbit hole that we have. These are very engaging mediums that we have. And it's very important to use these technologies very responsibly. You must go back to where does your vision lie? Where does your understanding of safety lie as well? Before you start to go and start to generate and start to use these tools. These are not the only games in town. It's very, very important to understand that. So we'll start off with, hopefully everybody's seen this before. So back to the slides.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. A lot of you have been asking why I'm so rarely caught on camera.
This is why you humans never see me.
Hey! So those humans I talked to, they said they won't tell anyone. Had to cut that part out for reasons.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, those humans, they gave me their phones too. Always helps keep the vlogs going.
Guys, fun fact, Bigfoot is immune to toad poison. See this little guy? Yum. Okay, that's enough fun for today.
Okay, thank you.
Time to repair my app.
Right, so obviously you can generate some fun videos. And what we'll do now is just show VO3. Again, it's available on Gemini. You can access the same VO3 engine. When we talk about engine, these are the technologies or the underlying models. They're available on OpenArt. They're available on many other platforms as well. And if you could switch to the laptop view. So with the previous 2 sessions, we were just entering prompts as you do. So again, within your prompt session, you'll have come across the need to be as detailed as possible. Again, from a video perspective, you need to think like or you can start to think like a filmographer, a videographer, where you describe your scene, describe the background, describe your characters, and really go into a lot of depth. And this is where the video model starts to generate some videos. Now, in lieu of the fun that we had on the last session, I'm just going to do Yeti doing wudu and see what happens there. So again, the VO3, I don't need to do their advertising for them. It is a fast model that they've created. There are other models available. Whilst that's generating, I'm just going to show you OpenArt, which it's a paid for service. But with OpenArt generation over here, there's 2 other models. So within video generation over here. So the apologies, this is practice sessions we were doing. So hence the number of my father and my great grandfather here. But there's different image models, so you'll see VO3 over here. Sundance, these are Chinese models. And Minimax and so on and so forth, and there's various, your mileage will be what it is, so try different things out. Again, it's extremely important to be responsible and thoughtful about what you put in, nonsense in, nonsense out. And then again, what you push out or you disseminate out onto your different platforms, extremely important that you are thoughtful about what's being generated. AI obviously affords you the ability to be very silly, and that doesn't necessarily help project your visions, but also it does afford you the ability to have variety and volume. And this is where you can really generate lots and lots of videos yourselves rather than having a technical expert there, and find something that sort of captures your vision. So before we jump onto the other silly video, we'll do some of the silly ones that I created. So again, this is using the Kling model, and this is me in my alter ego. Yeah. And again, you know, these are things that you can extend to about 30 seconds, or I'll embarrass myself further. So, yeah. So again, the thought behind that was from one of the previous sessions was, can we use can we create disaster relief videos and superimpose our faces onto these videos? You can do it on OpenArt, and again from the previous sessions, I'll be very ethical about your use of these videos. Yes, you can generate yourselves anywhere, but if you are now promoting basically falsehood, then that's on you. So let's see our Yeti doing wudu. Should we grade him? All there. And again, there's lots of variations that you can do. Oh, that's getting good. Yeah, he missed his arm. Okay, right. Thank you. Yeah. So again, please be responsible when you're trying these things out. Experiment. This is we might think we are experts, but the technology is faster than us. So the more you explore, the more you'll learn. Try different things out, try different models out, try different techniques out. There's the way AI is, it is what we call probabilistic. It's not what we call from traditional computing deterministic, where you're telling the system what to do. Here, the AI is trying to guess what the user wants, hence the prompts that you have. So please go and have some fun and get some good content out there. And if you've got any questions, just come and ask. Yeah.
Cool. If we could just go back to the slides, please. So whilst we have spoken about image generation, video generation, natural language generation, we want to kind of put across the point that we need to be responsible in our use of these technologies as well. For example, in one of the previous ones, like Brother Muazzam said, if you're producing disaster relief videos, then just to make sure that people know that this content is AI generated. If I stick my face on a disaster relief video and then go out there and ask people for funds, how unethical, how dishonest is that? So with great power comes great responsibility. If you're using these technologies, make sure that you're properly, thoroughly vetting what it's checking, what it's producing. If you're producing grant bids, make sure that you're able to deliver the project that the AI has created for you. You shouldn't be relying totally on AI to produce your projects and your bids for you anyway. But you can use it to bounce ideas off and make sure that what you are submitting is a true reflection of what you do and what you can do. Definitely make sure you watermark AI media where possible. And the other thing is, it just occurred to me, cite sources where relevant. Sometimes large language models produce references or cite sources, think, oh, you know what, that looks like a good source, that is actually true, and it actually says what it says it does. Yeah. A good source, that is actually true, and it actually says what it says it does. So kind of the main point of this workshop today is the fact that we want you to to wet your beaks, to get used to the use of AI tools. There are a lot of free ones available for you. We want you to adopt these technologies, use them to gain operational efficiencies, to maximize the impact that you have in your local communities as well. Make your own lives easier. A lot of like administrative tasks that you once needed to do, you don't need to do anymore. Reduce your own cognitive burden. If there are any like particular issues that you have, my email is there. Please do reach out to me, and I'll help where I can. For this last 5 to 10 minutes, we'll kind of go through like any questions you guys might have based on the stuff that we've done today, or if you have any other particular use cases that you can think of, and what we can try and answer your questions for you. So, yes, brother?
I'm not sure if it's available like VOD or image generation and for video generation or a reasonable price because they are the ones that are expensive.
So the brother's asking, for CICs, are there any image or video generation tools available like VO3? So for, I think Brother Muslim would probably be best to speak about
So
that.
I think with the Google Workspace subscriptions, they do have charity exemptions, so you can certainly try that out. And I think, again, as technology is improving, there's some really, there's free models available. Again, just reach out to us and we'll be able to point you. So the ambition is to keep our community informed as technology moves, and it is moving very, very quickly.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to keep up to date with the most recent models?
What would the advice be to keep up to date with the most recent models? So it's a good question because the field is evolving so rapidly. I think personally that there was a post on LinkedIn that I read. Oh God, but it was more around the fact that you can't actually keep on top of how fast everything is evolving at the moment. So you have niche, like Brother Muazzam mentioned, they're using available for you, and all that's there is the different engines that you can switch. In principle, the thing's the same, but the model, a new model will be released which you can then use. For example, if I'm using ChatGPT, that's my go-to. I know that they'll release a new model. I'm not particularly, at this moment in time, interested in the minuscule improvement in the way it does a maths paper, right? The models that are available to me now are amazing, and they're really good at what they do. If they release a new model that might be good at research, I might use that one. So if you have one that you particularly like, I would say stick with it, and they'll release new versions of it, and they'll make you aware of it themselves. So if you like cloud, if you're into software development or coding, you can use cloud. That's really good for that. If you like to generate documents, you can use Gemini. You can use OpenAI. And remember, the last step in the whole process is that you should be the one validating the output. And if it's got your stamp of approval at the end, then realistically, no one will, look at your document and think, oh, this guy used OpenAI or this person used Gemini, because you're really trying to get it to do all that heavy lifting for you to get you about 60-70% of the way there. The minuscule differences are really irrelevant. It's just noise. So, yeah. Hope I answered your question. Yes, sister?
Yeah, so for image generations, they do tend to use the same models. They are going back to Google servers to do the generation. I think it's a fair point to say that Copilot tends not to come up as on par with GPT-4 or whatever that claims to be using, and that's probably to do with what's called the system prompt that sits inside. And obviously, these systems do have their own sort of nuances that they have. And I think best thing to do is get to a place where you're really comfortable. Some people like Claude, the writing style, it's far more sort of human friendly compared to say to Gemini sometimes, and it depends on your style. So there's no particular one today that we could recommend. Again, just try it out. And it's a bit of a nebulous answer, but just try different things out and get to a point where whatever platform you've subscribed to, if you do subscribe to something, that you're comfortable that they're going to look after your needs.
Yeah, just on that, I know what you mean as well, because for work, I have access to Copilot, and because it's integrated within Microsoft, and all the information apparently stays on our servers, etc. They would try and say use Copilot as much as you can, but again, I like you realize that it's not actually as good as like ChatGPT or Gemini. There could be a number of factors. It could be that they say it's using ChatGPT on the back end, but I think before April, I think it was using like an old version, like ChatGPT 3 or something, and now it's been updated supposedly. But your admin team will still have an oversight of how they configure the system prompts, as Brother Mazum said. And the amount of data and context that's going into that Copilot, that prompting, could be distorting the responses that it gives to you, because it's also connected to your SharePoint and your emails and blah, blah, blah. So it's condensing a lot of information, and that's using a lot of the context. Like, if we're getting a bit technical, it's losing a lot of the context window. So the answers you're getting aren't actually as good as the other ones. So it depends. I still use ChatGPT for my work. If I'm doing like a research proposal or something like that, as long as I'm not giving like sensitive information into ChatGPT or Gemini, then I still like to use those third-party processes. Yeah? Hope that answers your question. Right. Perfect. If anyone has any questions, please do feel free to approach me or Brother Muazzam. You have my email as well. Hopefully now, I think Brother Haroon might be releasing you to lunch.
Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, we'll break for lunch now. So lunch is served downstairs in the reception area, and then prayers will stand at 1:15, 1:30, and 1:45 in the other breakout rooms on the other side. So please do try to catch a Jama'ah and then enjoy lunch, and back here for 2 p.m. inshallah. Thanks.